Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you have to email somebody or do something where you need to combine multiple PDFs into one PDF and then to send out, but you don't have the paid version of whatever software and you don't really trust, uploading your documents to some online thing to combine it for you? Well, I'm going to show you how you can do it yourself using Python. That's what we're talking about today. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to, if you haven't already, you can go install Python on your machine. I'll leave a little card up here that you can go and check out a video on that. Once you have it installed, we need to set up our virtual environment. So I have a virtual environment down here that's activated. If you don't know what a virtual environment is, again, I can leave stuff up here to kind of tell you exactly what a virtual environment is. But to activate it, all you have to do is simply type, like, in my case, I did this. I did source in my command line. I just did source and then .. and then biz env, which is a path to the virtual environment that we created, bin/activate, and that kind of activates it and gives us this. If you don't want to use a virtual environment, you can just do the following command. You can simply say, with Python installed, you can simply say pip install, and then we need a package called pypdf2, and we're going to install that. All right, now that that's installed, now we're good to go. We're good to start writing code that can do this for us. Now, I really like doing this and using basically two imports. So we're going to say import OS, and then we're all going to say from pypdf2, we're going to import PDF reader, and then PDF writer. Okay, so just like that, we have everything that we need to import. Now we need to go and write the code that's actually going to do this. All right, so let's set up the main the main area of our code. So I'm going to use this snippet that I've kind of built in, if name, that kind of creates this main guard here. And you could hard code the values or the paths to the files that you want to combine. But what I like to do is I like to use like command line arguments and stuff in the terminal. So that way I can write a program that will then, I can pass in any documents and it can combine them for me. And I don't have to like go change the code every time. I can just pass in paths to files and then it works. So to do that, we're going to say that the first PDF, so PDF path 1 is going to be equal to os.sys, and there's other ways to do this, but sometimes I just do this. arg v and 1. So this is going to give us the first command line argument. So when we type in, say, Python how to combine files, if I type in /test.pdf, it's going to, this is that first argument. This is essentially what this means, is that value. And now I like to, just as a safety precaution, always like to make, like when I'm dealing with file paths, I like to get the absolute path. So one thing you can do is do os.path. And there's, again, other modules that do this. This is just the way I just typically do it when I'm doing something fast. Abs path, and it works just fine as well. So just like that, we have the path to PDF1. So now let's go ahead and let's grab the path to PDF2. And then we have to update this to be the value of 2. Again, this is 0, I believe, and then this is index 1. And then if I did another path here, /test1.pdf, those would be essentially, this is the path to path 1, which is that index 1, and then this is the path to 2, index 2. All right. Now, just as a sanity check, I always like to kind of do something like, if not os.exists, path.exists, there we go, and then PDF path 1, or not path os.path.exists, PDF path 2, then we're going to say raise a value, or we can say a file not found, and say check file pass. So basically what this is saying is like, hey, if this one doesn't exist or this one doesn't exist, error out, because we need both of them to make it work. We can say, actually we want to do an and here, because if we do an or, if this one exists but this one doesn't, then it won't error out. So we want to do an and. We want to say if not this one and not this one, so it should error, right? So if I run this should error out right here, because RGV. All right, sorry, messed that up. But right here we go. Now that I got that fixed, if I run this should not fail, or this should fail, because I don't have in this directory where I'm running, I don't have a file called test.pdf, and I don't have a file .test1.pdf. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some PDFs that we can combine, and then we're gonna go back and then we're gonna do the step that actually combines them. All right, so I went and got 2 example PDFs, and here they are. These are basically some just example invoice PDFs that I also use Python to generate. If you like a tutorial on this, please leave a comment below, and we can talk about how you can generate a invoice just like this, with who the company is, who it's going to, the date, the invoice number, line items if you have them, the total amount. So this is PDF1, so invoice number 4 and invoice number 5. And say you're wanting to send this to a customer, but you don't want to send each individual for whatever reason, you want to combine them into one. Now what we can do is, for example, if I do this again, we'll come back in here and we'll test what we did before. So if I say invoice unknown 4.pdf and then /test 5.pdf and run this, oh, that means it should be an OR. So just like that. That's how you can double check, because sometimes I get that mixed up. So basically, if we run this again, because we didn't get an error, we should say if one exists and none doesn't, we should error out. So just like that, there it is. It errored out. And then let's just say we say this is number 5 and this is, or no, let's say this one is test invoice.pdf, which we don't have. And then this is invoice unknown 5.pdf. Now if I run that, you see that, oh, it errors out again, which is what we want. But then if I pass in both actual in PDFs, so invoice number 4 and invoice number 5, you should see that we don't error. And that's what we want. Okay, so at this point, we've tested our program. We have the ability to input any 2 documents that we want, any 2 PDFs. We do some sanity checking, making sure that we're there. Now comes the part where we actually get to combine them. And so to do this, I'm just going to create a for loop. So I'm going to say for, and then we're going to say for current doc in, and we're going to give it a list, and we're going to create that list using our PDF string. So this is where if you have a specific order that you want, like you want PDF first, and then you want this one first, and then this next one, maybe that way you make it so that, hey, this first argument is going to end up being the first value in that list, and then I can say PDF 2, right? So now we have a list, and we can loop through our document. And just to show this, we can say print, and then we can say curdoc, and then if we go ahead and clear this, print this out, it should kind of clear everything, and we see, look, there is the complete path to my first PDF and then the complete path to my second PDF, right? So now that we have those paths, the next step is to write them to a document. And this is where kind of using this PDF reader and this PDF writer come in handy. So what we're going to do is just above the for loop, I'm going to say PDF writer is equal to just to check my notes here really quick. PDF writer, there we go. So just like this, we've got our PDF reader or a writer that we're going to write to set up. Now what we can do is we can say, we can kind of get rid of this. And we can say that our PDF reader is going to be equal to PDF reader, and then we're going to pass in the path to the current document. Now, one caveat that I will note here is if you use, if you don't have like paths as your input for whatever reason, this could mess up because it may not be able to find it. But since we used absolute paths and we're passing in those paths as our input parameters or command line arguments, we should be okay because the PDF reader does either take in a stream object or it takes in a file path. So we're gonna put in this, and then what I've done in the past is you can designate whether or not, like, it has this strict parameter is essentially what I'm getting at. And what this does is it determines whether a user will be warned of all the problems and cause some corrected problems, and whatnot. Like basically you can say, hey, I want you to be strict, and if there is an issue, then error out. Or if I don't want you to be strict, I just want you to combine them, and then I'll check and see what it is, then just do strict as false. So the default is strict is false. So you can just do like this, or you can change it to true. I'm just gonna leave it here and just have that argument there just to remind me of why it might, if something does happen, what that argument is doing, that it's there. Okay, so now we have this reader and we've read in our file. As long as everything is as long as nothing fails at this point, everything is good to go. And what we can do here is just now we can go through each page and then we're gonna say range and then length of PDF reader dot pages. Yeah. And then with that, what we're going to do is say PDF writer dot add page, and then we're going to pass in PDF reader dot pages, and then just page index, right? So you could probably write this a different way, but this is kind of how I've written in the past, and this was what worked for me. Is essentially we're going to do a for loop that's just going to go from 0 all the way up to the number of pages -1 for the indexes, right? And then what we're going to do is index into the reader.pages. So we're going to index into the page and grab the contents, and then take that contents and stick it into our writer. And that is it, right? So basically the only thing left to do is write out our file. So I can say with open, and I'm going to say combined pdfs.pdf. I'm going to write to it. I always do like .as stream. I don't know, just like some convention that I always do. Then we're gonna say PDF writer dot write the stream. All right, so just like that. Yeah, sorry, I had to check my notes real quick because I wasn't really sure if it was the stream or the contents, but it is the stream. So we're passing in the stream to the write object, and then we can just say something like, print f string, and then just be like, I guess we don't need an f string because we have the, I could do something like here, like the output file path is equal to and just do this, so that way we're not copying and pasting a bunch of stuff that could just be a variable. And then you can do something like saved to, this, that, right? Oh, here we go. All right. So now if we go ahead and run this, ideally we should end up with, so if I, do something here, if I do ls on this, you'll see that I have 3 files. I have my Python file, the invoice file, and the other invoice file. So if I go ahead and run this, we should end up with another file in the directory. All right. Looks like we got an error here. So we'll check and see what this error is. Oh, we may have not. Yeah, we may have not. So the outer page, and then we come in here and, oh, there it is. Okay. So because we're using a stream, we need to do WB for bytes. And so if I go ahead and rerun this, this will open this path in the write mode with bytes. So that way when we write it out, it's all correct. What was happening is that I had just W, so I was expecting a string input, not bytes. And so it was erroring out there. So now if I do ls, what you'll see is that we have another file called combined PDF. So if we come over here and we check that, ideally, if it loads, we should see it says 2 pages because the other ones were of 1 page each, right? This one was 1 page. So now we have a combined one with 2 pages. So we at least know that that's good, right? So if I zoom out here, so we see that there is our first invoice number 4. That was the one that we passed in. If we look down here, this is the first value that we passed in. So there's invoice 4, and then we come down here, and then there's invoice 5. And just like that, we have used Python for free to combine PDFs, and it's just as simple as that. It basically took us from imports and everything, about 22 to 23 lines of code, to simply combine PDFs, just like, some of these paid things do. So that is how you do it. And if there's any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And if you'd like me to make a video on how I created these invoice files using, Python, these PDF invoice files using Python, please leave a comment below. Type the comment like PDF to let me know that, or type the comment of invoice to let me know that that's what you would like to look for. And then we'll go ahead and create a video on that. But that's Python tip of the day. Until next time, keep on programming.